You're standing in your kitchen, first thing in the morning, staring at a bottle of apple cider vinegar, wondering if this stuff is actually doing anything, or if you're just torturing yourself because the internet told you to. You've heard it burns fat, controls blood sugar, improves digestion, and somehow fixes everything from bloating to energy levels. But what if most of what you've heard is either exaggerated or taken completely out of context? And what if the form of apple cider vinegar you're using matters way more than people realize? The reality is, apple cider vinegar has been around for centuries, but the way it's being used today is very different from how it was originally intended. Social media turned it into a miracle fat burner, while supplement companies turned it into gummies loaded with sugar. Somewhere in the middle is the truth, and that's what we're going to break down today.
Because apple cider vinegar isn't useless, but it's also not magic. Used correctly, it can support metabolic health, digestion, and appetite control. Used incorrectly, it's either ineffective or actively working against you. The difference comes down to understanding how it works, what it actually does in the body, and which products are worth using. Today we're breaking down what apple cider vinegar really does, what it doesn't do, and which 3 products actually make sense, depending on your goals. By the end of this video, you'll know if apple cider vinegar deserves a spot in your routine at all, and if it does, which version actually delivers results. Let's start with the basics, because this is where most of the confusion starts. Apple cider vinegar is made by fermenting apple juice. First, yeast turns the sugar into alcohol. Then, bacteria convert that alcohol into acetic acid. Acetic acid is the main active compound responsible for most of apple cider vinegar's effects. This is important because apple cider vinegar is not a vitamin, a mineral, or a stimulant. Its benefits come from how acetic acid interacts with digestion, insulin signaling, and appetite regulation. When people say apple cider vinegar works, what they really mean is acetic acid works in specific contexts.
One of the most well-researched benefits of apple cider vinegar is blood sugar control. Multiple studies have shown that consuming acetic acid before or with a carbohydrate-heavy meal can reduce post-meal blood sugar spikes. It does this by slowing gastric emptying and improving insulin sensitivity. In simple terms, it helps your body handle carbs more efficiently. This is especially relevant if you tend to feel sluggish after meals, experience energy crashes, or struggle with cravings later in the day. Stabilizing blood sugar doesn't just affect energy, it affects hunger, mood, and long-term metabolic health. Apple cider vinegar has also been shown to increase feelings of fullness. When taken before meals, it can slightly reduce appetite, leading to lower overall calorie intake throughout the day. This is where a lot of the fat loss hype comes from, but it's important to be clear. Apple cider vinegar does not directly burn fat. It does not increase metabolism in any meaningful way. What it can do is make it easier to eat less without feeling miserable. Digestion is another area where apple cider vinegar can be helpful, particularly for people with low stomach acid. Despite being acidic, apple cider vinegar can actually support digestion by stimulating stomach acid production and enzyme activity. This can improve protein digestion and reduce bloating for some people. However, this is highly individual. For people with acid reflux, ulcers, or sensitive stomachs, apple cider vinegar can make symptoms worse. This is why blindly chugging it because you saw a TikTok is not a great idea. Another often overlooked benefit is its effect on insulin sensitivity over time. Consistent use of acetic acid has been associated with improved insulin response, which can be beneficial for people managing body composition, prediabetes, or metabolic health. Again, this is a support tool, not a cure. Now let's address what apple cider vinegar does not do, because this is where expectations get out of control. It does not detox your body. Your liver and kidneys already do that. It does not melt belly fat. It does not replace a calorie deficit, proper training, or adequate protein intake. And it does not compensate for a poor diet. Think of apple cider vinegar as a small lever. When everything else is already in place, that lever can make things slightly easier. When nothing else is in place, it does nothing. Another big mistake people make is assuming all apple cider vinegar products are the same. They're not. The form, concentration, and additional ingredients make a massive difference in both effectiveness and safety. Liquid apple cider vinegar contains acetic acid, but it's harsh. Taken straight, it can damage tooth enamel, irritate the throat, and upset the stomach. This is why dilution matters, and it's also why many people abandon it after a week. Gummies are on the opposite end of the spectrum. They're easy to take and taste great, but most of them contain very little acetic acid and a surprising amount of sugar. At that point, you're basically canceling out the blood sugar benefits you're trying to get. Capsules and tablets offer a middle ground. They're easier on the teeth and stomach, more consistent in dosing, and often combined with additional ingredients that support metabolic health. This is where product quality really matters.
So let's get into the 3 apple cider vinegar products that actually stand out, depending on what you care about most. First is the best value option, Bragg Organic Apple Cider Vinegar. This is the classic, unfiltered, unpasteurized, and containing the mother, which is the cloudy mix of beneficial bacteria and enzymes formed during fermentation. This is as close as you get to traditional apple cider vinegar. Bragg delivers a solid amount of acetic acid at a very low cost. You get exactly what you expect. No fillers, no gimmicks, and no added sugar. If you're willing to dilute it properly in water and use it consistently, it gets the job done. This option is best for people who want the raw product, don't mind the taste, and are focused on digestion or blood sugar support around meals. The downside is convenience and tolerability. You need to dilute it correctly, protect your teeth, and be consistent. For some people, that's a deal breaker. Second is the most natural option, Garden of Life Organic Apple Cider Vinegar Capsules. This is ideal for people who want the benefits of apple cider vinegar without dealing with the acidity or taste. These capsules use organic apple cider vinegar powder and include additional digestive support ingredients like probiotics. There are no artificial colors, sweeteners, or unnecessary additives. Everything in the formula serves a purpose. Because it's encapsulated, it's easier on the stomach and safer for long-term use. The dosing is consistent, and it's far easier to build into a daily routine. This is especially useful if you're using apple cider vinegar for blood sugar support or digestion rather than appetite suppression. The trade-off is that capsules don't always hit as hard acutely as liquid vinegar before meals, but for daily metabolic support, this is one of the cleanest and most sustainable options available. Third is the most effective option, Goli Apple Cider Vinegar Gummies. This might surprise some people, but here's why it earns the spot. Goli focuses on bioavailability, consistency, and compliance. Each serving contains apple cider vinegar combined with vitamins like B12 and folate, which support energy metabolism. For people who have tried liquid vinegar and quit, gummies dramatically improve adherence. And consistency matters more than perfection. While gummies do contain some sugar, Goli keeps it relatively low compared to many competitors, and the trade-off is that people actually take them every day. This option works best for appetite control, daily metabolic support, and people who want something simple and easy to stick to long-term. It's not ideal for aggressive blood sugar management around meals, but for general health and weight management, it's highly effective in the real world. So where does that leave us? Apple cider vinegar is not a miracle supplement, but it's also not useless. Its primary benefits come from acetic acid's effect on blood sugar regulation, appetite control, and digestion. If those are areas you're trying to improve, it can be a helpful addition. If you want the cheapest and most traditional option, Bragg Organic Apple Cider Vinegar is the best value. If you want a clean, gentle, and sustainable daily supplement, Garden of Life capsules are the most natural choice. And if you want the easiest option that people actually stick with, Goli gummies are the most effective in practice. Just remember, apple cider vinegar works best when your fundamentals are already in place. Training consistently, eating enough protein, managing calories, and sleeping well all matter far more. Apple cider vinegar supports the process. It doesn't replace it. If this breakdown helps you understand apple cider vinegar beyond the hype, let me know in the comments. And if you want more evidence-based supplement breakdowns like this, make sure to like and subscribe. Coming up next, we'll cover magnesium, digestive enzymes, and fat burners that actually work.